Hi there, my name is Sheila Farher-Gemma and I am the founder of Connected Sponsors. In the following podcast, I talk about sponsorship and how to find sponsors, how to manage them, and how to create those amazing strategic partnerships and win-win relationships with them so that keeps them coming back time after time again. If you want to hang out with me more, you can find me on my free Facebook page. It's called How to Find and Manage Sponsors. On there, we have like a very active community of people who are working on sponsorship and looking to have success with sponsorship. See you there. Bye now.
Welcome to the Terminal Value Podcast. I have Sheila Farher-Gemma, or as she prefers to be called, maybe not prefers, or she is commonly called Sheila FG. And what we're actually going to be talking about today is about getting sponsors for events, both digital events and in-person events. And I think this is actually very topical, particularly since, during the COVID era, there were so many virtual events, but also during the, now that COVID's hopefully, we're all keeping our fingers crossed, hopefully starting to dissipate, we should start seeing some live events again too. And, of course, events are one of the most effective ways for a lot of businesses to grow their client base. And so I just wanted to bring Sheila on to help build everybody's knowledge base. Sheila, take the mic. Let me stop talking for a minute and introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Thank you, Doug. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me on here. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Sheila Farher-Gemma, Sheila FG, Sheila her, whatever, it all works. So that whole thing was when I got married, I didn't want to get lost in America. So I had my husband also took my name, and our kids have like the long hyphenated name. And now my daughter's actually getting married and going to keep the name. So I guess it will go another generation, which is kind of cool. But for probably about the last 10 years, I have helped event owners and platform owners find sponsors for their events. And I'm happy to chat about all of that. It's a really good way to bring value to your events if you're running events, but also any of your platforms. So your podcast, your email marketing, any of this kind of stuff, it can all be sponsored, and it brings value to the people who are your listeners or your audience as well, because these sponsors are going to help them in their transformation to wherever it is they're trying to get to. Yeah.
Well, let's just kind of start out with thinking from the sponsor's perspective, right? Because when we're pitching to a sponsor, what are some of the things, at least that you've seen, are the most attractive to sponsors for events? Because some of the people listening in the audience are going to be thinking of, okay, how can I create an event to, say maybe stir some business in my local economy or my local community, as we're coming out of the pandemic. I think these are the kinds of things that are really, really impactful, particularly for local communities.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the things that you want to think about is so you're curating this whole thing. So the first thing really to think about is who are the audience of the event, because that is who the sponsors are looking to get access to and what it is they're coming to the event for. So they're probably coming for some sort of transformation, to learn something, to support something, whatever it is, what will help them in that transformation. So if you look at kind of like a live event where somebody is teaching on real estate or business or something like that, and the audience are probably looking to invest or earn extra money or be better business leaders, what are the resources that they need to get there, and what would be helpful to them? So if you can curate all that together, it's going to be this kind of synergetic win-win-win situation. So for sponsors, what attracts them is the audience that are going to be there. If it's their demographic, they want to be in front of them and they want to have as much access as they can. So it's not necessarily, that you're bringing in this great keynote or that you're going to have, some fancy like double wide booth or something. They don't really care. They just want to have access to your audience and as much of it as they can, because they're also looking for leads and to increase their business. So that's kind of why they're there. And they want to make sure that the audience fits what it is that they're looking for.
Gotcha. Well, let me kind of go down the rabbit hole a little deeper here.
Sure.
So let's say that I'm looking to put a new event together, and I don't know exactly how many people are going to sign up. What would be your advice for trying to put a sponsorship package together? Because I know that sponsorship has some value, but I don't necessarily know what it is.
Exactly. Yeah. So again, you don't know who's going to show up, but you probably know what kind of people are going to show up or what kind of people will be attracted to it. So having your audience avatar is really, really important because again, that's what you're going to be selling to the sponsor. So you want to have a really good idea of what it is, who they are. So it's not just like demographics, like they're a male age 40. It's not that stuff. It's more of like, what are they about? What are they trying to achieve? What are their like their desires, their wishes? Why are they coming to your event? Besides, is it the education? What kind of transformation are they looking for? And then kind of work that back to the sponsor. In terms of the event being small, I'm always like, just be honest. If this is your first time event, just say, hey, this is my first time event. I'm not sure how it's going to be. This is how I'd like to do it. But sometimes sometimes you have to go free or very little in the beginning, or do something like an affiliate program. If they have an affiliate program, just get a commission on what they may sell or clients to take on during the event, to get used to it. But the big thing is like just full transparency. I see event owners make a mistake and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to have 500 people at this event and blah, 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 blah. And then it's like not even close. So just really being honest with them, because the thing with sponsorship is like, if done correctly, it can be like a really long-term strategic partnership that just goes on for years and years and years. And they just keep coming back and supporting you and you support them. And it's just this like really nice relationship. So you want to like start it like that as well. And if you started with, there could be like 10 people at this thing, it may not be worth your while, but I'd love you to be involved somehow. What would that look like, and just be honest.
Absolutely. Well, and because I was actually going to also ask you, kind of took my thunder for the next question. Is
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I'm just joking with you a little bit. What kind of splits do you normally see when you're talking with sponsors between, like, say, fees, between affiliate commissions, or is there some other kind of arrangement that you see for sponsors?
So there can be like a hybrid of that as well. But a lot of times sponsors are just coming in, they're paying a flat fee. There's no affiliate commission. They're just, there's a certain dollar amount on the sponsorship. They pay that to the event host and that is it. Obviously they're looking for an ROI and it's worth their while to be there. Sure. And for the most part, they're looking for an ROI. Sometimes it's just like a client appreciation thing. They know a lot of their clients are going to be there. So they want to be part of the event because of that. So sponsors have different reasons for wanting to be there. Affiliate can go the whole gamut. It can be like anywhere from like a couple of % all the way up to 50, 60%, depending on what they're selling, and whether it's kind of a lower ticket item that's lead gen for them, that they can sometimes give 100% of that away because they want the lead, not the dollar amount. So there's no really hard and fast rule of, these are the rules of sponsorship and you have to like stay in these lines. It really is a negotiation.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's take a little bit of a turn and walk us through the process that you go through with your clients to help educate them on attracting sponsors. Now, of course, don't give away all your secrets. Just give away like maybe a couple of your secrets.
Yeah. So one of the things that I look for is when I first meet with a client is, especially if they're teaching what they do, is what I call the low-hanging fruit sponsors. So if you teach, again, let's say you teach leadership, okay? And in teaching that, there are all these different resources and tools that you use. So I'll sit down with the client and say, let's open up your checkbook or your QuickBooks and figure out who you're paying every month, because those would make great sponsors. It's something that, like, way back when I started in business, I joined BNI, which is Business Network International. And that's actually something that I learned from them when we were bringing in visitors for visitor days. They had a thing called Follow Your Checkbook, which is what I call my module now, Follow Your Checkbook. But it's, again, if you have people coming in, they're looking for some sort of transformation. They're maybe looking to be where you are now. So what are the tools that got you there? Like, what are the things that helped you? What were some things that kind of jump-started your success as well? And bring in sponsors like that, then you just start building out a database of, like, this is my wish list of sponsors. These are other sponsors that are like them. So if I don't get sponsor A, I can look at B, C, and D, because they're like a similar company, and see if they come in.
Okay, excellent. And now
Doug works with schools, businesses, and nonprofits to optimize their costs without layoffs. The best part is that he is only paid for successful projects, so you have zero risk. To learn more, visit dougbusiness.com or schedule time to talk about your business at meetdoug.biz.
And now, and this is starting to get into a few more items of personal curiosity, but
Sure.
Do you see a difference in pulling power or success between events that are, say, more purpose-driven? Like, for example, if you have events where the net proceeds are going to be going to a charity versus a proverbial for-profit event?
I've mainly worked in for-profit, so
Okay.
I can't speak a lot to the nonprofit. I know a nonprofit does a ton of sponsorship as well.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the corporation coming into sponsor. Sometimes they just want to be known that they are a supporter of X, and that's kind of good for their PR. A lot of the events I deal with are pure ROI. It's just like they want to make money on the event. They want to bring in new clients. Some bigger sponsors like Coca-Cola or something like that, which, for them, it's just impressions. It's brand impressions. They will just want their logo everywhere so that everywhere you look, you see Coca-Cola and then you buy Coca-Cola. So, the ROI doesn't really matter to them. But most of my expertise and experience is with the ROI type sponsors who are looking to build their business.
Okay. Well, talk me through a little bit what that ROI equation looks like for those sponsors.
It looks different for every sponsor. Some sponsors want to ROI right out the gate, that by the end of the event that they've signed on enough people that have covered all of their costs, and then there's going to be residual. Some want to recover it within a year. They're looking at, cost of customer acquisition. If I can pick up 10 new customers, it's worth it for me. So every company is going to be a little bit different depending on their metrics and their numbers. And a lot of times they'll kind of, when we're in talks about them coming into sponsor, they'll kind of say, for this to work for us, we would need to, pick up 10 new customers or 50 new customers or whatever it is. So then it's a case of, do you think we can achieve that? Because that's what success would look like for us. So that's kind of how the conversation goes with that.
And I was actually going to ask, do you find that there's very many say event organizers who would put together, say, some kind of performance guarantee for a sponsorship? So, like, for example, if there's somebody who needs to pick up 10 clients to be ROI positive, have you ever seen that being written into a contract with some kind of either escalator clause or penalty clause?
So I haven't seen that specifically. It's more attendance at the event. So if you say, for example, that you're going to have 100 people at your event and this is what the sponsor is buying into, and you end up having less, I've seen clauses in there that, if it's for example, like if you only get 50 people at the event, that the fee gets cut in half or something like that, or it can be kind of like a sliding scale of that, or if they achieve their metric even with that amount of people, because sometimes less people isn't a bad thing if they're qualified people.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, a small instance of highly qualified people isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's, and again, that goes to the relationship of it as well, is that if it's in a contract or not, if you have a sponsor who doesn't do well at your event, you really want to make that right for them with whatever it is that you can do. Maybe do a webinar with them later or do an endorsed email or something like that. It's all about relationships. You don't want anyone walking away from the table unhappy or feeling like they, got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, well, that's just what I was thinking. If I put myself in the event organizer's shoes, I would say, hey, I really want to make sure that all of my sponsors are generating a positive ROI. Otherwise, I will run out of sponsors very rapidly.
Exactly, and your reputation will kind of go before you even run out of sponsors, because they all talk to each other. So so it's and you have to go in with like a giving heart like that. I sometimes it's a big red flag for me if I start talking with a potential client and their questions are, how much money can you bring in? Like, what's the max you think you could bring in? I'm like, hang on, we got to look at this from totally the other way. How much value can you bring?
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Well, and just kind of at least the way that I would almost think about it, and I'm kind of going into a little bit of my esoteric theories here. So bringing back down to earth if I'm getting a little too far out there or a little too woo.
Okay.
But kind of the kind of thought that I'd had might make for a really unique event would be to orient around around, like I say, a nonprofit or some kind of charitable fundraising theme, because the way that I think of an event, particularly as an organizer, isn't necessarily as a way to generate a whole lot of money, but it's basically as a way to be able to create awareness, to be able to get permission to market to all the people who attend your event, and then also to be able to meet the VIPs in the green room. I mean, to me, that's really, that's where the real value of an event would or should come from. And again, tell me if I'm being, if I'm being a dewy-eyed optimist here or something like that. But
not at all, honestly. And this is a great question, because it's what's important in sponsorship and what's important in what you offer is what the sponsor wants.
Yeah.
So if that's what the sponsor's looking for, like if you have some big name keynote speaker and the sponsor just wants to be in the green room with them, like we'll make that happen, because that's an easy give. I see a lot of people kind of put together sponsorship packages, and they rack their brains and they try and figure it out, and they put something together and put a whole bunch of time in it, and never ask the sponsor, what is it that you'd like? What would make it a no-brainer for you? Because sometimes it's something so simple. Like, if I have an event, like if I have an event and I have a keynote speaker who is like someone who's kind of famous or whatever, and it's going to cost me nothing to bring you in and introduce you, which would be worth like a gazillion to you, because that's who you want to, So it's just being creative about it, and being curious and asking the questions and seeing what it is that people are looking for, and see if we can get it for them. Gotcha.
All right. Well, hey, let us all know where we can find out a little more.
Sure. You can find me. I didn't ask you about this beforehand, but I do have like a little one-pager training that I give away for free. Would that be okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's kind of around that finding your checkbook thing. So it's at connectedsponsors.com/finding sponsors. So they can find me there. If they email
one more time.
Sure, I'm going to spell it out. Yeah. So connectedsponsors.com. So CONNECTEDSPONSORS.com/finding sponsors. And then they'll get emails from me. They can respond to them. I do answer a lot of my emails that when I get a response, I'm not like some big guru who's like too busy for that. So I want to know, I want to know how people are doing and help them out.
And for anybody who's listening, that link will also be in the show notes, so you don't have to know it all. You don't have to write it all down. Just click the link in the show notes.
Yeah, please keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah. So if you're running, please stay on the road. If you're driving, please stay on the road. Both hands on the steering wheel. Pay attention to where your children are. Look for pedestrians, etc. All right. Well, Sheila, give us one last thought to cap it off.
So one last thought is just, I think, be creative. I think that became the theme of this, there is no one way, and do something that works for everyone, and you're going to win.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me on here.
Thank you very much for listening to today's episode. And what I would actually like you to do right now is to give me your thoughts. So I would really love it if you could go to feedback.terminalvaluepodcast.com. And just let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's anything you really like about the show, if there's any questions you have, or if there's anything you think I could do better. Once again, that site is feedback.terminalvaluepodcast.com. I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to the Terminal Value Podcast. Share it with your friends by sending them to terminalvaluepodcast.com. For more information, please visit businessoflifellc.com for full access to Doug's products and services.
All rights reserved. No part of this broadcast may be produced in any form by any means without written permission from Business of Life, LLC. All trademarks and brands referred to herein are the property of their respective owners.